Hey everybody, Davey here from Davey's World Fishing. It's the middle of February, 2 weeks away from Rockfish Opener. So let's talk about rockfish and rockfish setups. As I mentioned, we're a couple of weeks away from the Rockfish Opener here in Southern California. It kicks off on March 1st, and that is a magical time for us here in Southern California. It kind of kicks off the entire fishing season. You got the Rockfish Opener in March. You got the yellowtail and white sea bass that start to move in that April-May time frame. Then those big bluefins start moving in June. Then we got our full-on fall pelagics that happen in July through the rest of the year. Pretty amazing place, but right now we're going to talk about rockfish. Like I said, March 1st, we're only a couple weeks away, and in Southern California, they've actually expanded some of the regulations and made a few changes that everybody should know about as well. The big one that everybody's excited about is you can actually fish deeper than normal. You can go all the way down to 600 feet deep now. You still can't fish the cow cod conservation areas and all the other restricted MLPA areas, but you do have a little bit further down that you can fish. On the rockfish side, you know, one of the keys that we all used to do growing up is we used to fish gigantic reels with either Dacron or full monofilament line. You don't need to do that anymore. Over the last, say, decade, even decade and a half, the braided lines have really come into play for rock fishing. It's super strong, there's no stretch, and it's very thin. My rockfish setup, this happens to be the Okuma Cavalla 5 size, and I can get about 400 yards of 50-pound braid on that little reel. 400 yards comes out to 1,200 feet. That's a lot of line, that's very deep. I don't want to fish that deep. Nobody should ever want to fish that deep. But you know, most of the time you're gonna be fishing in that, say 300 to say 450, which they expanded to here a couple years ago. But you know, that's still very deep. So plenty of capacity on this little reel with that 50-pound braid. And then on the top shot, what I'll usually use, this happens to be 40-pound soft steel ultra premium monofilament line. So you got a little bit of stretch and you still got some nice visibility as well. I'll fish the double dropper loop setup. So I've got 2 dropper loops about 1.5 feet apart, and each one of those has a 1/0 hook to it. Of course, depending on the bait that you're gonna have, a lot of times you're going to be fishing like strips of squid, so you want to go even a little bit smaller on your hook size. Say a 1 or a 2 or even a 4 or 6, or if you're fishing sardines or anything bigger, you know, you're going to go that 1/0, 2/0, 3/0, etc. A lot of times, even if you're fishing big lingcod, you might even throw a mackerel on there, so like a 5/0 hook is perfect for you as well. And then down another 2 feet, I've got my lead. I've got a large torpedo weight. This happens to be a 12-ounce torpedo. But depending on your depth and how much current and everything you're going to have, that's going to fluctuate as well. You might be fishing 6 ounce or 8 ounces. It might be all the way up to 1 pound, 2 pounds, even 3 pounds of lead. This is my basic setup with 12 ounces. I've got that about a 6-foot, 40-pound monofilament leader on there with the 1/0 hooks. And I've got that right attached to 50-pound soft steel eminent braid. The key to that braided line is I can get it all the way down if I want to go fish that 600 feet, which does not sound fun to me whatsoever, but I can get all the way down to that 600 feet. And with that 0 stretch, I can feel every bite, even from small fish down that deep. There's no stretch. When you're fishing monofilament that deep, even in the 100 and 200 feet deep, straight down, when those fish bite and they start to take a run, the stretch of that line actually deadens that bite. You don't get that with braided line. So you can fish all the way down there, and every time you get a little tick, that transfers all the way up to your rod, to your reel, to your hands, to your brain, really is what's going to happen there. So fish that braid nice and thin. This happens to be 50-pound. Some people like to go more, some people like to go less. I like that 50, it's a good all around. Of course, because then I can switch this up and use it for other things as well. But for that rock fishing, 50-pound braid, perfect. 40-pound mono, perfect. You can go up and down on the mono as well if you feel like you're not getting bit and you want to go a little bit less, but on those real depths, the fish are they're just attacking whatever you happen to drop in front of them. But that's my personal setup for rockfish season. It's a couple weeks away. It kicks off the season for 2021. Hopefully we can all get out and fish again together. That would be awesome. But anyhow, I appreciate y'all checking in. Do me a favor, hit that like button down below and subscribe to Davey's World Fishing up in that right-hand corner. We'll see you out on the water.